Well, again, everyone, welcome to the Donor Automated Screening History, short DASH Intake System Enhancements call. We have a few enhancements that myself, Joe, and Kevin will present to you today. So in the agenda for today, we're going to review the new to-do systems. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this new tab in your donor intake system, and you probably have no idea what it means. But today we're going to review it and show you how all that works and how to set it up appropriately. We're going to review the new Donor Connect Mentor system. Here you'll be able to allow your donors to connect up to a living donor mentor. And 3, we're going to review the DASH reports and show you how to view some donor conversion analytics and review all the different donor reports that we have available in the DASH system. We'll also go over briefly the liver DASH system. So without further ado, we'll get started and jump into the registrations. So we're on schedule to have about over 50,000 donor registrations come through the DASH platforms, and pretty much 40,000 of these registrations are from the private label centers. So that's all of you guys on the line here. So what is the Dash to Do and why do we build it? So the Dash to Do system helps you manage your living donor candidates your way and allows you to create a customizable workflow that works with your criteria and your center's workflows. So you can match it up and really it's a seamless process so that you can follow up with your donors when you need to follow up so nothing falls through the cracks, and you can manage your team and the donor candidates more appropriately. So I actually want to go into the system live in a test system and show you how it works. But first, I want to review here what these different columns mean. Let me pull this up. So right now, I'm actually in Mayor, Arizona's test system. So as you can see here, we have all these different columns and things, and I want to explain that. So first, you have the source column. This is where the donors came in from. So DASH simply means that the donor registered through your private label DASH center. RDN means that the donor registered through a center and they selected to donate remotely at your center. DCN means they registered through the NKR Donor Care Network website and we refer them to your center. And the My Site means that the donor registered through a microsite, and this shows up on here. The type shows you the type of donor, so family voucher, standard voucher, non-directed, directed donor, etc. The name of the donor, the next follow-up date, and I'll explain a little more on this in a little bit. The intended recipient, the status of this donor, the intended recipient date of birth, and the donor coordinator that's assigned to this donor. So if you click on one of these rows here, you'll get some more information. You have the donor's information, where they came from, their name. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, this is all fake data, so I'm not, showing everyone some PHI here. But so you have the donor's email, nobody@nobody.com, the phone number, location, the center, and whether they requested the Donor Connect. I'll review a little later in the presentation what Donor Connect is and how you can take advantage of that. Down here, you have your status. You have the different statuses that is default to your center, and then you can create your own statuses. And I'll show you how to do that in just a second. You can assign your coordinator in here. You can assign the next follow-up date, so the next time that you want to follow up with this donor. And the logs here shows you pretty much everything that you've done in the past. So if I change the coordinator from Barbara Johnson to Carol White, it's going to say, create on 12/8 at 15:08. And I assigned it to Carol White. If I change the status to, let's say, could not contact, then it'll say, in here, could not contact in the logs. So to know back to the follow-up. So first, when you log into the system, you're probably going to get a long list of donor candidates that are in here with some dates that go far, far back. You'll want to clean those up and it's just so that you have the list of donors that you have. And if you have way too many, you can, reach out to us and we can do a bulk cleanup for you so that we just, change all the dates at once for you. just so that you have a cleaner workstation. But you'll want to come in here and let's say, this donor, John Jones, actually, let's go to Donna Robbins. It says that we attempted to contact them, and our next follow-up date was on the 6th, so we're a little bit late. So we want to click on here, and let's say we contacted them again, or let's say we couldn't contact them. We're going to click on could not contact. If I want to follow up with them again, then we can change the date here. Let's say we want to follow up with them again tomorrow. So we'll do December 9th, click there. Then you'll see they changed in there. So now it says 12/9 could not contact. But I want to show you how to create your own statuses so that you can manage this your way. So if you click here on manage status list, you're going to get this list of all the different statuses that we have available currently. You can create your own. So let me review what these columns here mean. So the status names, you have, attempt contacted, could not contact, coming in for consult, not viable candidate. And then you have the applicable disposition. So every status has to be assigned a disposition. And the reason for that is we wanted to make the system backwards compatible so that you can view these donors in two different ways, at least for now. So this disposition does, at the end of the day, doesn't really matter which one you assign, but you want to assign the most appropriate one. So attempted contact, you probably want to put, left message or email. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter which one you put. You can put multiple, you can duplicate the dispositions. So as you see here, coming in for console and attempt contacted, they both have left message or email. And then you have the follow-up. This column means if it's listed as a yes, that means that this is going to show up in the to-do tab. If it has a no, then it's not going to show up in your to-do tab. So for example, could not contact, if you have a follow-up date of tomorrow, December 9th, then, and this shows no, it's not going to show up in your to-do tab, although you have a follow-up date of tomorrow. But because you couldn't contact them, you probably don't want to see them in your to-do. So you'll just list that as no. And then coming in for consult, you probably do want to follow up with that donor and you do want to see them in your to-do. So what you'll do is you hit yes here. So anytime you assign a donor this status and they have a follow-up date of either in the past, today, or tomorrow, you'll be able to see them in your to-do. And then this column is an EMR. It doesn't really do anything. It just lets you know. So it lets you assign the status for the status, if that makes sense. So for any of these that says yes, that means that in your center, when you assign a donor a status of coming in for consult, that means that you added them to your EMR. That way you know which ones are in the EMR and which ones are not. And then the sort column, you can just sort which ones are first, second, third, or fourth. So let's add a quick one real quick. Does anyone have a disposition or a status that they would like to add to this list? No? What do you think, Afton?
I can speak to that. This is Afton from Mayo, Arizona. So one of the statuses that we added was okay to register an EMR. So part of our workflow is that our MA goes in after the nurse coordinator reviews the questionnaire, and then the MA is responsible for registering them. So we added this status.
Perfect. And which disposition did you put?
Well, since the dispositions we understood did not matter, we just used left message or email for everything.
Okay, that works. So you put that, but you could also put, just since you put in the EMR, maybe you just put complete. And you probably don't need to follow up with this because you put in your EMR.
So this one we did put needs follow-up. So this is what in the to-do tab, our MA is going in there to look for this status. They're going to register them, and then we have a status that says registration complete, which does not require follow-up.
Perfect. So needs follow-up, we'll put yes. Is an EMR, yes. Add status. Now you see in here. And what was the name of the other status you created?
Registration complete.
Registration complete. And then we'll just leave it as this, or whoops, but complete. Needs follow, no, yes, as status. So now we have these two additional statuses here. So once we go back into the donor intake, we can reassign one of these donors. So let's say this donor, Barbara Wilson, we can click on her and say status, okay to register in EMR. You'll change in the log, and the next follow-up date is tomorrow. So they will show up in here as tomorrow. Barbara Wilson, okay to register in EMR. You can assign your coordinator, Jennifer White, let's say, and you can, does anyone have any questions on this page or the statuses page?
Yeah, Andre, let me just add to this. First of all, I really want to thank Afton and the team at Mayo Arizona. They just got the Dash platform in, and we had literally just built this to-do tab. And the spirit behind this to-do tab was to try to make it a little easier for your folks, so that you're not having to go through all these tabs that we had in the workflow before. The pending donor, pending contact, pending follow-up, all that stuff, right? Now you can just sort of work off this one screen. But I've had other centers request this this idea of sort of triaging the flow a little bit, right? Because you have multiple resources within your transplant center who can sort of work through these candidates based on the stage of where they are in your workflow. And I thought it was brilliant to create a status in a workflow that includes having a different person assigned to just going and opening up a record in your EMR system, be it Epic, be it Otter, whatever system you use. Because once you get a candidate to a point where you're ready to bring them in for evaluation and next steps with your already well-established workflow for evaluation, at that point, Dash has kind of done its job at that point. So you're going to kind of, get to that point and sort of close out the record from there. But there's one person responsible just for that. I also have other centers that want to integrate in their ILDAs interacting, having an encounter with these candidates from, at some point during the process when maybe they want to order pre-workup labs or something like that. So, every center has a different way of how they want to do things, but that's the spirit behind this. And for this initial rollout, we were able to put a couple of last-minute tweaks in here based on some great feedback that we had from Afton and her team. We'll, as we get more feedback and as we get more ideas to further improve this, we'll add more in here to make this even better. But it's gonna really help your workflow. So Afton, thank you for sharing all this, and
Yeah.
We'll keep moving on with the training here.
Thanks, Joe. So what eventually as Joe mentioned, we're going to get rid of some of these tabs. So pending donor, pending contact, these are going to be gone, and we're going to keep the complete tab. So eventually the workflow, what you'll want to do is use the to-do and the complete tab. In the complete tab, you can see everything. You can, if you click show all here, let's say 2020.
And just as a note, while he's doing that, we're going to change the name of the complete tab to all, and it'll default to show all instead of complete only, to make it more usable as a search feature.
Yep. And here you'll be able to see all your donor candidates, the status or disposition. If there's no disposition, eventually, we'll get rid of disposition, but it'll show just the status. You'll be able to search, filter by just, the status that you want, or disposition. You can see, where the donor came in from, etc. Any other questions?
Hey, Andre, we have a question from Justine in the chat room. Could we add for a status patient declined to proceed?
Patient declined to proceed. Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
So you can go in here, manage status list. You would say status name. You said patient declined?
Yep, patient declined to proceed.
To proceed. And then maybe disposition would be, not ready yet or whatever. And then do we want to follow up with this patient, this donor? Probably not. So we put no. Is an EMR? Probably not. So we'll put there, patient declined to proceed. And once you go into your donor intake tab, you'll be able to change or, modify any of the statuses of these donors to patient declined to proceed. And you'll have it there.
And one of the things I actually haven't checked with anybody yet, but what I'm looking at was that status in particular, and the could not contact, is that it would probably be useful to link that up to the ruled out status, so that it would be so it would go into the ruled out tab as well. So I will have that added in so that you can choose on any status whether it's a rule out or not.
That's a great point. Thanks, Kevin.
All right, we have one other question from Emily over at UMen. Does this interface with the dashboard for reporting? Kevin, that'd probably be a question for you. I haven't actually gotten a chance to look into that yet.
Yeah, the dashboard doesn't have reporting on status yet. It still has the disposition. So we will need to add that. A lot of that will be coming. So yes, we will be doing it, just not yet.
Got it. Oh, here. All right. So back to this, we're going to be slowly transitioning from dispositions to a status. But for now, we have to use both just so that everyone is happy and it's backwards compatible and it's user friendly for everyone. And this is just as a follow-up if you want to review the slide deck later on just to see, what each of those columns mean. So some future enhancements, we're going to add some more filters in that to do. So you can filter by status, filter on the next follow-up date. So you can see future follow-up dates. Currently, you only see, like I mentioned, any previous follow-up that's due or anything that's due today, which is the yellow, and anything that's due tomorrow. If anything is due, let's say 3 days from now or next week, you're not going to see on this list. You would have to go into the complete tab and hit show all in order to view everyone. Or for now, you can also view click on these tabs and go to those. But eventually we will add a filter here so that you can see future follow-ups requested. And then we're going to add some, patient name filtering. So you can filter by the recipient. Next follow-up date filter on that all page. Any other questions, comments, or anything interesting related to the to-do tab or this new workflow?
Yeah, Andre, we have a few more questions in the chat. One from Linda Wood. Can you add a way to search for a donor by recipient name? Right now, she goes into the pending contacts and clicks on the recipient name to get a list.
Yep.
You want to go straight to the upcoming upgrades?
Yeah, so we're going to add that in the all page. We're going to add the recipient name filtering. So you'll be able to filter by the recipient name and you can see all the donors that registered for that patient.
I also did have another question about the statuses. Can those statuses be reversed? Because if it's being linked, like the patient decline status, if that's being linked to rule out, what if that donor reaches out a month from now, 6 months from now, and says, listen, I'd like to be reconsidered, instead of having them go through the process all over again? Can we reverse that status to reactivate them without them having to apply all over?
Yes, so you would have to come into the complete tab or the search. You won't be able to search by the donor's name in here, but you can always go into the search bucket itself and search for a donor in here. And then, actually, I didn't show you this, but if you go into, once you find the donor, you can click on the evaluate page with the view details page, and it's going to bring you here. So now you can actually set the workflow status. So let's say they were listed as patient declined to proceed. You can always, search for the donor, go to view details, and once you're in this page, you can change the status to, anything you want.
And
Okay.
can you switch it real quick to one that has a follow-up date? Or actually go back and show that it's not in the to-do right now. I actually want to try this out. So they're not there anymore. So if you go back to the page, the details page, just click back in the browser.
So I'll get Google, go to view details.
Or I was saying the previous one that you had already ruled out, and then unrule them out. So you have 6 there. Change this to attempted contact.
Okay.
And set the next follow-up date to today. And that is the name on that person is a little bit lower. Matthew Jackson. Okay. So update status. You have to update status first. Oh, or did you already?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
To-
And now Matthew Jackson is back in. So you are able to take them from a kind of a ruled out status back to into your to-do so that you can set that next follow-up date and continue to move forward with them.
Okay, great. Thanks very much.
Any other questions? Larry, you're muted. Did you have, is there any more questions in the chat?
Thank you. Yeah, will the to-dos show in the Action Center?
Will the to-do show in the Action Center?
Kevin?
Not yet, that I know of. Kevin?
Oh, sorry. That I was responding to a text message. What was the question again?
Will the to-dos, the donor intake to-dos show up in the Action Center to-dos?
We don't have an Action Center item for that yet, I don't believe, but that would be that wouldn't be difficult to add. So I can put that in the list.
Perfect. Larry, one or two last questions?
Yep, there's one more from Megan Coleman. Is the follow-up date available under the living donor details or available actions on the donor intake tab? Is the follow-up
Are they available? Yes, so if you click on any of these, let's say you have, pending contact tab. You don't have the follow-up date here, but if you click on the view details, you can view the follow-up date. So this one doesn't have one, but if they did, it would be here. So
yeah, because we're trying to get down to just the to-do and the complete tab. Those are the main two tabs I'm focused on changing to be compatible with status and the next follow-up date.
Yeah, so eventually you're only going to have the to-do tab and the complete tab, so that, or complete/all tab. So we're not really making any changes or enhancements to these tabs here, these older tabs. But you can always, if you click on, the view details and you come to this page, you'll see the next follow-up date, if you're still using these tabs.
Yeah, and it is in the complete tab. If you just go into the complete tab and change the disposition to left message or email, it essentially shows you the pending follow-up left message or email page by selecting the left message or email disposition.
2020 here. So you have your next follow-up date here. And then the status.
So how long does it sit in each status, basically, so we can see if there's any bottlenecks in our process?
Ooh.
Which might be difficult because each center can create their own status, but
Yeah.
you're miracle workers, right?
So the log that's created, on the view detail pages, I realized the log doesn't get created for that one. But every time you change the status, we log it. So I can find when the next log happens, but it's not quite perfect because that was meant more to be readable to people than to readable to the code. So I'll have to look into that.
Okay, thank you.
While we have you on, I know we didn't. Do you have any other comments or thoughts on the dash to do and how that's working for your center so far?
Yeah, we talked about it today. We had a follow-up to see how things were going, and the team really likes moving between the statuses. So it's been working really well for them. I know we have some of them on the call if they want to speak about it, but it's helping them track their work a little bit better, and that okay to register an EMR, and then registration complete has been helping.
That's great. All right. Does anyone have any questions on any of the discussions we had today, or any of the systems, or? All right, well, thank you everyone for dialing into our training call this afternoon. We hope to have more of these trainings in the coming future, and we hope to make some more of these enhancements and make your lives easier. That's our goal. So if you have any feedback, feel free to reach out to myself or to your liaison.